Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Mouse. It's a tier 10 German heavy tank, heaviest in the game. It's located on the northeast spawn of Karelia, and it's under the command of Red Dog Alpha 1. Now, I've had some rather interesting battles seen in the Mouse, mostly by other players, because I don't actually play one myself. Never had the pleasure of playing it, but it can be quite amusing. Is this the super heavy tank that has been used to great effect by some players? Weighs 192 tons. They only built 2 of them, and only one actually had a real prototype turret, and it wasn't the turret that was actually intended to go on the actual vehicle. In fact, after one of the vehicles was destroyed by the Soviets when they reached the testing grounds, it did look like one of the Mouse was actually putting up a defense, but after it was burned out, the hull was burned out, they actually ripped the turret off that tank and put it onto the other one, the other prototype, and then took that back to Kubinka in Russia. So the one that's actually in the museum in Kubinka isn't the real Mouse, because that's the wrong turret for that particular tank. Okay, so the superlatives after all of that is that the gun is a 128mm, capable of 490 alpha, 311 penetration with the APCR, and you can see that Red Dog Alpha 1 hasn't loaded any standard shells at all, but they will go through 246mm. He's elected to go this way rather than going down the normal route, which is to go down the southwest passage or southeast passage, because he's going to go over and defend this corner against all comers. Now, the armor on this tank is actually better if you angle the turret, so whilst he's driving along, what you should be doing is turning this turret to one side just slightly to avoid the enemy getting any shots into your vehicle. And he's spotted the enemy at last. Cranbarn and an Object 780, and the first bonk has occurred. Yes, you're going to hear a lot of bonks from the enemy. Standard reload time is 12.75 seconds, and you can see that Red Dog Alpha 1's got 10.93, so he's knocked a couple of seconds off the reload. Okay, so long as he angles his vehicle correctly, it'll be very difficult for the enemy to get pens, but the Udas off to one side did manage to get a hit into him for 428, and now he's blocking their shots. Well, the IS-7 managed to get a pen, and he actually penned through the front of the vehicle. So long as he blocks the front of his vehicle, he can hold these guys off. Got a nice bit of 520 from the 60 TP, and he's got a steel wall now for blocking the most damage in the game. He's just going to hold them there. Oh, another nice shot for 495. Remember, the Alpha's 490, so that's a high roll. And he's just going to hold this position. Now, I've seen this done before, not by Red Dog Alpha 1, but by Sofilein. Yes, she plays what's called the Scouting Mouse, or Scout Mouse. I actually had a t-shirt made up for her which said Scout Mouse, because she would literally just drive across the main field of Malinovka and then watch as the enemy team focuses all their fire on her, and then her teammates shoot all the enemy. Well, that 60 TP's gone too deep, and he's going to take a hit this time. Oh, he was lucky to escape that one, but he is taking damage from other tanks. And we just got hit by the IS-7 again, but the 60 TP's about to get, yep, he's just been hit again. Low roll this time, 416. The IS-7's come up to try and get some damage, but the 60 TP just bit the dust. The Udas 1516 got a shot. Oh, that one went into the rear of the Object 780. Now, they are getting damage, and we're now down to a one shot from the enemy. So if they do manage to pen us and put us out of the game, we'll lose the steel wall. We've also got a Spartan now. And yes, so long as he hides his lower plate. And yes, a nice hit there, the IS-7. Bit of revenge. 384. In fact, actually, was it 384? No, it was 542. It was a high roll. Okay, we can see the 780 pulling back. They're very reluctant to come forward. Yep, blocking them. Oh! Well, it was the Udas, the one who hit him earlier in the game, managed to sneak up and put a round through the side. He's lost out on his Spartan and on his steel wall now, because of course now he's out the game, he can't get them. But he's blocked a huge amount of damage, 9,140 hit points of damage blocked. He was definitely on for a steel wall. And there goes the cranbon. Now, if somebody will get the enemy Udas, that'll be justice. You can see how much fun this thing can be. So long as you hide that lower plate, you can block a lot of shots from the enemy. You've also got to angle that turret as well. Now, you can keep the turret looking forward all the time whilst you're waiting for the shell to load, and then just turn the turret towards the enemy the moment you have a round loaded. Blast it away and then turn the turret back again, and it blocks the shots. The weak spot is actually that rounded bit right at the apex of the front of the turret. That's where it's the weakest. Well, looks like the units 15, 16 on the enemy teams managed to get a little bit closer, but not close enough to actually do any damage at the moment, and we're only one tank down on the enemy. Seems a bit sad that all the battle is over as far as Red Dog Alpha 1, but he's sitting now and watching what's going on. Hopefully he'll actually follow somebody else so we get to see what's going on the battlefield. That's normally what we like people to do, so that we get to see what other people are doing in the battlefield. I think the only other thing I can think we can do would be to switch to the free cam and see what it's like elsewhere. So if I move to free cam, you'll probably see the camera on the mini-map moving over. There is an enemy Heshbon just down on that corner. Shells are going in. And he just died. A blind shot from a T100 LT just took him out. Now if we just go down across the horseshoe, and the action is actually happening on this corner. I spin round. Sorry if it's a bit disconcerting. The action is happening, well, just a little way away. So if I pull back, we've got a T95 FP4201 in this vicinity, and our guys are holding that corner. Yes, it does appear that there's not much action going on. I suppose one good thing is that our T100 LT is making good use of the swamp at the moment to try and spot the enemy tanks. And that Udas has suddenly come back, so maybe we'll zoom over to that side of the battlefield and see what's going on over here. Well, we can see they're stalled over here as well. T100 LT came back to try and get some shots on that Udas. The IS-7's trapped up in the northwest corner. He's not progressing any further. There's quite a few tanks waiting for him to take a move, especially our Heshbon. Well, 5 minutes still to go, and oh, now this is interesting. Something that's actually going on behind us is that the enemy FV4201 is going around to the horseshoe from the opposite direction. And I think the T100LT actually did spot this. Our M5Y is moving into position. Now we just lost the T100LT. Their chieftain is somewhere in this area. He's being marked by the Heshbon. I suppose now would be a good opportunity to actually let you know what's actually been going on with me over the past month or so, because I haven't told you or kept you up to date with what was going on, but I've actually been having some serious problems just recently, medical problems, and it actually involved around my feet, because what happened was that I had severe cuts on the soles of my feet, and this meant that my feet were very sore most of the time. About 2 weeks ago, I was bathing my feet in antiseptic, and I put too much hot water in the bowl, and didn't notice that it was so hot that it actually scalded my feet, both feet, and I ended up with huge amounts of blisters all over the foot. So I was immobile for a couple of weeks, and that's why all of a sudden a number of videos fell off, because I wasn't able to get about. I was immobile. But the good news is that the skin is now starting to heal, and I should be active again. I haven't left my apartment for nearly a month now, simply because I haven't been able to get outside due to the injuries. But yes, it had a pretty severe effect upon my ability to move about. And consequently, yes, it made life miserable for me. And at this very moment, I'm actually bathing my feet in a bowl of antiseptic to try and prevent any further damage. I know some of you have probably got even worse problems than I have, though. It's just that's explaining why I've been a bit slow on getting some of the videos done. Not just that I've actually had problems. Well, I haven't had problems with my computers. I've had problems with my feet, and that's why I haven't been able to move about. Well, there's some action going on the other side of the battlefield this time. So we'll just quickly turn around and get over there. With 2 minutes left on the clock, it looks like it's going to be a draw. The IS-7 is taking a bit of a pounding, and so is that UDES 1516. They can't stop the defenders, the M5Y specifically, from doing damage to them. The Object 780 managed to get into the dip, but of course now he's being dealt with by the UDES 1516 and the M5Y, and he's out the game. Even the Arty is trying to get involved. In fact, it looks like he's in the northwest corner of the map at this moment, trying to shoot in on the cap area. But our team is now 2 up on the enemy. And it very much looks like we might actually have or take control of the north of the map as soon as we've dealt with that UDES and the IS-7. And there both of them go. And that means now there's only 2 left to kill. And we know the Arty's in the corner. And the only other one is the T95 FV4201. We're going to follow the M5Y as he makes his way up into this corner. Hopefully he'll find the Conqueror up here. We're into the last minute, and there he is. Well, he got shotgunned. And he's trying to bully the M5Y, but unfortunately it didn't work because he'd already blown his wad, and that's it. The game's over. They've won. Here's the end of battle stats, and despite the fact that Red Dog Alpha 1 died fairly quickly during the battle, in fact, actually not quickly, but, you know, early on, he's still got a first-class tanker out of that game, and in fact, that's the first time he's had a first-class tanker in the mouse. He also got a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage on the enemy, as well as a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. And his win rate from that battle was quite good, 2,624, which is Unicum standard, just short of getting Super Unicum. Let's have a look at the team score and see where he was. Well, when it came to damage, he actually was the second highest on his team, but the third highest overall. The highest damage went to the Object 780 on our team, who managed to get a cool-headed, high-caliber and steel wall for 6,457 hit points. The second highest being the enemy chieftain, the T95 FP4201. In fact, has he got the second? No, actually, I'm wrong. It's Red Dog Alpha 1 who got the second highest damage. He got 3,902, and the chieftain got 3,892. I thought that was 3,992. It just goes to show I need glasses. Yes, well, I need Specsavers. Yes, it's a good joke. Okay, when it came to kills, the M5Y did the best. He got 5 kills out of that game. 4 kills went to the Strip 103B. 2 kills went to the Object 705A, the units 15-16 on the enemy team, and that included Red Dog Alpha 1, and their Heshbon, the FB4005, who managed to get 2 kills as well. When it came to base XP, it's Red Dog Alpha 1. Yes, he not only spotted, but he blocked damage as well. 1,126 went to him. 1,029 went to the Object 780, and 1,026 went to the M5Y. So very good game, even though he was just blocking the enemy from moving along the north edge of the map and stopping them in that corner. The Conqueror gun carriage on his team managed to get a Confederate, and the units 15-16 also got a Confederate in that game as well. He fired only 12 rounds in the game, but every round hit the target. Only 8 of them penetrated though, because they did hit heavy armor. 3,902 hit points of damage, all of it done at close range. 27 hits received from the enemy, only 7 of which actually penetrated. 20 non-penetrations, and no hits by way of splash. Unfortunately, yes, somebody was actually getting accurate shots. The IS-7 was able to penetrate his armor, and there was not much he could do about that except try and get rid of that IS-7 as quickly as he could. But unfortunately, the IS-7 player was actually rather too good, and he couldn't block that guy's shots. 9,140 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 4 enemy vehicles were damaged, none were killed. 4,282 hit points of spotting assist. That's a really good spotting score, and that's why his base XP is so high. 58,635 credits on a free-to-play account, and after repair, ammunition, resupply, he actually made a loss of 16,837 credits, and it's really down to the ammo, because the ammo is quite expensive. He got 7 bombs, because this was tier 10 game, 1,126 base XP, times 2 for the first victory, 2,252 experience points altogether. So not a bad game. Let's have a quick look at the armor profile for the mouse. Yeah, it's heavy armor. It really is. Look at this. It's the weakest spot is actually this spot between the tracks. You can see it's only 200 millimeters of impacted armor with effective armor of 273.3. So you can pen it between these ones, but if you try to go a bit higher up, it's still pretty thick armor all round, and of course those tracks do tend to block a lot of shots. You can see even the sides of this vehicle, when angled, are heavy armor, 185. Remember that IS-7 was firing in at this angle on the vehicle, so he was having to go through 289.9 or 290 millimeters of armor to get through, but the actual impacted armor was only 185. You can see the sides of the turret are more than likely going to bounce the armor off, even though they're 210 millimeters. You can see the front of the turret again. It's very strong armor indeed. Here it's 260 millimeters with 278 effective. Up here it's 260 millimeters with 339 effective. The weak spot is actually, as I said, the middle of the gun there. It actually drops to 260, and that's because the way the turret is rounded, it's thinner there to allow the people to actually spy through the actual armor. and also because that's where the guns are mounted. The mantlet's very, very strong indeed. I wouldn't bother to try and fire at the mantlet, but the engine deck, of course, is somewhere you can actually fire if you can knock out the engine deck. If I show you the live model, I'll just bring that up. Here you can see again from the front, this vehicle is a beast, but the weakest spot is here or just there. You can see the stripes where it is weak enough. You can penetrate the side if you can get through the side, and you can penetrate the rear. In fact, there's a hatch at the back you can aim for. There's also a hatch in the side of the vehicle, but although it's not a weak spot, that's actually modelled in the game, so you can't actually get through that easily or use that as a weak spot, but it's actually a pistol port for one of the crew to actually poke a pistol out and try and shoot infantry if they have to be crawling on the side of the vehicle, or what the chieftain calls an infestation. If we look at the modules, okay, let's have a look at that. You can see there's two up front, the driver and the driver's mate. He's also the radio operator. You've got two fuel tanks right at the front of the vehicle, and they're just in front of the engine, which is behind them. The two front crew members are actually parted from the actual main crew, which is back in the turret, way back in the vehicle. And we've got the gunner at the front on the right-hand side, the loader at the back there, with another loader in between the ammo racks, and there's the tank commander on the opposite side. So yes, it's got a huge amount of ammo there, another huge ammo there. This is the transmission area for the drive, and remember it had a very weird electromechanical drivetrain, this one, this particular tank, but there was only two prototypes in the end of it. So yes, if you can penetrate the sides of a mouse, you can get around through, you can probably do some damage, but it's a beast. It really is huge. It's got masses of hit points, very difficult to bring down, and yeah, it's quite a tank to play with, especially if you're doing exactly what Red Dog Alpha 1 was doing, and that is playing it to try and block shots from the enemy and block them from actually using a particular path. Now remember, I did say during the battle that there was a certain young lady who actually had a t-shirt made up for her, actually says Scout Mouse, and I'll show you that picture right now. And here's Sofilein, yes, wearing the Scout Mouse t-shirt, which I have made up for her. She was making quite a thing of it, actually, in terms of being able to drive a mouse across the battlefield, right into the face of the enemy, and just take huge amounts of damage. And it was hilarious. It really was. This was the actual t-shirt that I actually have made up. I think it does actually say, "Please do not bonk," down below. Because she'd drive a lot across the battlefield and everybody would bonk her. The shells would be impacting from all sides. At least I think that's what it says. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's what it says on the one she's got. I hope you enjoyed that battle. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.